2017. Now, look, I'm going to share this, and I need y'all to know, I don't know everything. I only know what the Lord reveals to me. That's as much as I can say. I only know as much as he reveals to me, but I need you guys to pay attention to this, because you guys might find yourself in a situation where it's like, but God, that don't even make no sense. And then you're like, well, I'm just going to do my own thing. And that's when you fall, because you thought you knew what you was doing or talking about. So I'm going to just share so you guys can kind of get it. I was born again 2013, December. Fooling around, fornicating with dudes, honey, just terrible. Not thotting, but definitely not thotting. Sorry, y'all. Definitely not doing the right thing. I wasn't really, super focused on God, but I would definitely like read my Bible and stuff like that, but I wasn't like focused on him like I am now. I wasn't committed. I was not in a committed relationship with God. I had some other booze. But at this time in December, I was like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm tired of it. It's not what the way that I want to live my life. I'm tired of going down the same old path. And I decided to go to church. Thus, I got saved. 2013, December. Moved around because of military. Went to my first church. 2013 is when I committed myself to God. Definitely made some, I'm not even going to say mistakes. I just did stupid stuff. I ain't got no business doing. Just be like that. Like, we just dumb, we just dumb. But I still was like, God, I'm committed to you. I know I'm jacked up in this area right now, but I'm committed to you. I'm seeking you, God. I desire you, God. I want you above this situation, these situations that I keep getting myself into. And so I moved to Baltimore. And when I moved to Baltimore, Maryland, for the military, because still I'm in the military, just dumb. Just dumb. When I was in Baltimore, that's when my faith grew tremendously. That's when my relationship with God grew tremendously. That's when Jesus Ventures happened. And so for those of you who don't know what Jesus Ventures is, it's the moment when I completely surrender my time to God. My life is already surrendered to God, but my time. So I make no other plans. I don't hang out with friends. Well, at this time, I didn't hang out with too many friends if they were not literally on the exact same page as me. Then I wasn't hanging out. I wasn't going to movies. Like, I was only focused on whatever God wanted me to focus on. And so at this time, he revealed to me more and more stuff about the supernatural. And my anchor scripture was Mark chapter 16, verse 15 to 18, which is the Great Commission, where he talks about speaking in new tongues, casting out devils, drinking things that are poisonous and we won't get sick or hurt or whatever, laying hands on the sick and getting well, all this stuff, right? And I didn't go to church either. That was the other thing. Didn't even go to church. I was so distraught that he would not allow me to go to church. So distraught. And I didn't understand that he wasn't allowing me to. I just thought that I just could not find a place to go. But thank God for his beautiful women of God who were able to speak to me about this situation and help me to know you're not supposed to be in church. He's actually trying to teach you something. Go with the flow of whatever God is trying to teach you. So I did. That's how Jesus Ventures came about. Seen many miracles, laid my hands on the sick, raised the dead, all the things. Like, that was the most supernatural, amazing time of my whole entire life. And so after that happened, I was leaving active duty for the first time. And I was like, well, I'm going to move to San Diego. And I knew that it was in my heart to move back. It was in my heart to move back. The very first moment that I went to like the first 3 days that I was in San Diego for the very first time, I fell in love. It was rainy and everything. I fell in love with San Diego, and I knew I wanted to go back. So, this time up until it was time for me to leave active duty and move to San Diego, I was still, of course, doing, whatever and everything with God. The church that I went to over there was absolutely tremendous in support of this journey that God had me on. Not that they, specifically knew my journey or anything like that, but God sent me there and it was just perfect. Everything was just beautifully perfect. Everything perfect. And then, up until it was time for me to go, the Lord kept telling me, there's greater at greater. There's greater at greater. And I'm like, why are you keep, and everything, messages at church, songs, things I saw on YouTube, like, people on Facebook sharing messages like there's greater at greater. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, what in the world is going on at Greater? Greater is the name of the church over in San Diego that I knew I was going to go to, because that was the church I went to before when I was stationed there. So I was excited. Like, there's greater at greater. Well, what's going on? Wow, excited. Woo. So I move, and I get over to San Diego. I'm, starting school, spending time with my baby boy, collecting rent at my house in Maryland. Everything is going wonderful. Going to church, hanging out with a friend there. And then we started doing everything together. We just started doing everything together. We would clean the church together. We would go on like small trips together. It was just him and I. Okay, him and I. And at the time, we had some pretty solid boundaries. Him more than I, because I wanted to go everywhere and do everything. But he's like, nope, I got to do this. I got to go get my work done. And the only way that I knew we would be able to go and have fun together is if I helped him to get his work done, whatever it is that he had to do. And so that's where, I was spending more time with him at church and helping him like clean or whatever the case was. And we would just hang out more and more and whatever. And I really started to like him. I knew him from boot camp because we went to boot camp together, but we didn't like have any type of emotions, feelings, none of that in boot camp. But we began to like hang out more, and we just began to like each other, which is honestly normal. And in the back of my mind, I'm just like, okay, there's greater at greater. Perhaps. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. And then we started doing things we had no business doing. You read between those lines. And we got married. So I'm not even going to go into that. That'll be a YouTube video about other things and what led up to the marriage. But, we got married, and we were just living in San Diego, just having a good time, going to work out together, still, just doing our thing. He moves into my place because I had a place before him. And then I got pregnant. And in the time of me being pregnant, he gets a job out of state in Colorado. And when that happened, everything just went downhill. Everything just went downhill. Downhill. Fast. When I say fast, I mean like no time to push brakes. It just went downhill real quick. And San Diego was, outside of Jesus Ventures that I told you guys about, San Diego was that time period was the most fun time I've had in my whole entire life. But there's a part that I want to talk to you guys about Because remember, I told you guys, God will give you dreams. He will warn you. He will do the things. Nothing, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's the person that God has for you to be with. Like, that's literally the person he created you to be with. If they are taking you out of alignment with the will of God for your life, they're not the one for you. What in the oxymoron am I talking about? I really believe that, well, we're now divorced, but I believe that my ex-husband was the greater at greater that I was telling you about. I firmly believe that. Because literally, I think back on this situation and I'm just like, there's nothing else that was there that, like, nothing. Like, literally, the church is shut down now. Like, he has to be the only thing that was for me there. But we were out of alignment with God. He had his own things as far as relationship with God going on. I didn't pay attention to that. Like, there's so many things that I didn't pay attention to. So many things I didn't pay attention to. And this one thing is key that I didn't pay attention to. I had a dream that, now this is kind of graphic, so if you can't take kind of bloody gory stuff, then okay, tap off real quick and come back in like a minute. I had a dream that I was in the bathroom and I was on the toilet and I was having, I want to say it was a miscarriage or an abortion. The word abortion is what comes to my mind, but it was really a miscarriage. I don't know how to explain it. You know what they are. Like, you are giving birth to an unformed or underdeformed baby. The baby is just, it's not going to live. It's not going to survive, right? It came too early, right? Oh, Jesus. I got more revelation just now. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, wow. Okay, so it came too early. Oh my goodness. When something comes too early, it doesn't mean it's not right. It's not ready. It's not time. It's just too early. So I had a dream. Oh my God. Wow. That's what my dream was. I was in my bathroom. I was on my toilet and I saw literally this like bloody blob in the toilet, which was the baby that I was carrying. Now, at this time, I wasn't pregnant, although I thought, I was so terrified. Remember how I told y'all, like, you got to be careful with your dreams. You got to be careful with your dreams. Write this stuff down. And for years, crazy enough, for years, I didn't understand what this dream meant. But I did not understand that the dream was that I was having this God-ordained child gift, right? Out of timing. And so it was not going to survive. Our marriage, that was the baby. I thought it was the baby that I was about to have. So I was so nervous for so long that I was not going to carry my actual baby that we were having. I was so nervous that he was not going to make it. So nervous, so scared. But it wasn't about him. It was about our marriage. It was about our relationship. So I do believe that my ex-husband was my greater at greater, but because we were out of alignment, the mission, the call, the purpose was aborted. Aborted. And that's why I keep thinking the word abortion, because that's really what it was. We willfully did the things that we were not supposed to do that caused this baby to not survive, that caused our marriage to not survive. Hope this makes sense to somebody. Good morning from my end, Ambassador of Christ Jesus. Well, good morning. Hello. Um, wow. Like I kind of knew something like this. Okay, then I had another dream. There's two dreams that I specifically remember in San Diego. Two. Excuse me. I had a dream where I was in my house, my little apartment in San Diego, and there were three boxes. I want to say they were in my kitchen. But when I stood up to go and get these boxes, like go and see this surprise, the excitement or whatever, in these boxes, they disappeared. Literally, as I was getting up to go and get the boxes, they disappeared. In thin air. They just disappeared. And I was so like, where did it go? And there was nothing that I could do to get it back. Because I did not give myself the gift. Only the person who gave the gifts could return it. You know what I'm saying? So my point in saying this is, when I was in San Diego, that's when everything shifted. That's when I got out of alignment. Hold on, let me see. 17, 18, 19. 5 years. 5 years. The marriage was supposed to work. It was supposed to work. Like, no matter how upset I get at the situation, and I'm just like, man, you did this and you did that. The marriage was supposed to work. But lack of self-control, not staying close to God, not having wisdom or using wisdom, it caused me to get out of alignment. Like it caused me to lose my gifts, the 3 gifts that God gave me, as well as the baby that I was carrying, which was this marriage. Those are the 2 dreams that I remember from that time. Now, I'm not this like dream person. I promise I'm not. Like, I'm just a regular person who has dreams, but I just believe that God is intentional, and I ask God for stuff. Like, y'all better start asking for stuff. Okay, let me go back up. Yeah, you're making sense. Good. Watching from Liberia. Okay, that's why you said good morning. What gifts did God give you? I really think that these gifts are the thing. Oh my God. I think the gifts are the things that God is doing right now. That's why, look, this is a journey. I'm going to tell you what they are so you can know now when I get back to 2022 what I'm talking about. So the gifts are the things that I enjoy, the things that he called me to do, the things that I like. Jesus, which is ministry, business, which is literally the gift and call. Like, I know he put that in me. And then real estate. It might not be real estate. It might be something else, but most likely real estate, because I really want to be in real estate. Like, I really want to be in real estate. So I really think those are the 3 things that God gave me. So moving on. 2017, we left. 2017, we got our house in Colorado. October 31st was closing day. October 31st was closing day for our house in Colorado. And literally, even before I left, because he left before me because his job was, in Colorado, things were downhill already. Things just took a very poor turn, just a very bad turn. And literally ever since we left San Diego, he wanted to get a divorce because things were just so hectic. I really believe it was a lot of different things, some mental things, some heart things, some past things, issues, like so many different things. And even still to this day, I'm understanding that there's more. things that possibly caused all these things to happen. But ever since we got married and left San Diego, which I feel like was the worst thing. Actually, there's 3 dreams I remember in San Diego, but the other dream is kind of irrelevant. I feel like that was the worst thing that could happen for us, because our relationship was perfect. It was perfect. And maybe that was the honeymoon phase, but it was literally, there's nothing coming in, but there's nothing causing any issues, problems, strife, nothing. But then, anyway, there was nothing, to be honest. There is absolutely, we were just some happy people together. The only thing, though, that made it a little bit difficult was the fact that it was hard for him to find a job. I think that was the only thing. I was pregnant and I couldn't stand the smell of his breath. That was the other thing. Besides that, like, everything was pretty darn, it was okay. But when we left, like I said, everything went downhill. And me, as the person in the relationship that was stronger as far as faith is concerned, I was like, God does not want us to divorce. Like, that is not of God. Like, he hates it. He doesn't want this to happen. And so I did everything that I knew to do. Not everything, but I did what I knew to do to try and save the marriage. And there was a point when we moved to Colorado where we were in the living room and he was like, yeah, I want a divorce. And I could just see on his face that he was so serious about it. He didn't want to be there. He just wanted to bounce. He wanted to get up out of there. And I cried, and I went up to our room, and I was either on the floor or on the bed, one, and I just felt like God came in the room and he was like, stop crying. Just like I changed my face like that. Stop crying. I was like, okay. Because, like, it wasn't even a comfort type of stop crying. It was just stop crying. Okay. Oh, that's what I was going to say real quick. Let me go back. I didn't want to leave. I did not want to go to Colorado. I cried. I was like, Lord, I don't want to go. I want to stay in San Diego. I don't want to leave. I was like, Lord, I don't want to. He was like, follow your husband. I was like, I don't want to go. But I followed my husband because that's what God said. Because if he would have said, okay, well then stay, I would have stayed. But at this time, going back to this situation where I'm in the room crying, God comes in. He's like, stop crying. And then he begins to talk to me. And he's like, if you decide to go, I will bless you. But if you stay, I will bless you and it'll be worth it. I'm like, first of all, is this a trick question? Like, are you trying to play with me? Because it's like, God, how can you expect me to decide? I kind of feel like it's like, you're asking me to be selfish, or are you asking me to do what you want me to do? Which one? Like, I don't know. But I said, Lord, I kind of feel like you want me to lean towards staying. So I'll stay. So we stayed married. And then we moved to Japan. And when we moved to Japan, I was like, man, surely things are about to get better. We're going to just do this and everything's going to be perfect. Everything's going to be great. Woo! No. He left like 3 times. Came back to the States, went back, came back to the States, went back, like just a roller coaster. One time he came back, I got pregnant with my baby girl. But then we get to when he was there, 1 year. And in Japan, I'm talking about. We get to when he was there in Japan. Everybody was in bed. The kids were asleep. He was in bed. And I was downstairs praying and crying. Praying and crying. God, how did I get here? I'm so tired of being here. I just want to be where you want me to be. I want to be where I'm supposed to be. God, please help me. Help me to be back where I'm supposed to be. I had a dream. After I finished crying, wiped my face up, went to bed, and I had a dream. In the dream, my husband died. I don't know how he died. He just did. I didn't see his body when he died. There was no funeral for me to go to. He just died. I just heard about it from his mom, I think. And she began to comfort me because I was sad about it. Like, my husband died? What? Now, of course, in this dream, we still had like this issue with each other, but I was sad to see him die. But in another part of the dream, he came alive. Like, he revealed himself to me. I saw him and he was so beautiful and he was just great, just beautiful. He was helpful. Like, everything was good. And while I'm having this dream, I would be waking up out of my sleep, weeping, crying, like boo-hooing out of my dream. Like, I could feel myself sleep and weeping in this dream. And then at the very end of the dream, as I told you, he was like super beautiful, whatever. We was walking across the street and he faded away as I continued to walk across the street. And after that, I woke up crying hysterically. That has never happened before, and I don't believe it's ever happened again after that. I woke up hysterically crying. And I told him about my dream or whatever. A few weeks later, he said, yeah, I still want a divorce. So he left. He eventually came back. That's how I got pregnant. And then in that time while he was gone, this was COVID now. So this is 2020. 2020. And God gave me a series of dreams or whatever. And one of the times he told me that I had to divorce him. And I'm just like, what? I gotta divorce him? Like, I don't, what? And it took me 3 times to actually go through with it. So June of 2021, we got a divorce. June of 2021, we divorced. And so, now, getting back to when I was talking about the gifts and all that jazz. So, there was God has always had this plan prepared for me, just like he has this plan prepared for you. He has this plan prepared for us, y'all. And he desires for us to walk this plan. He wants us to accomplish it. But we get caught up with selfishness, with doubt, with spiritual weakness, like all of these things that causes us to get cloudy-eyed and our hearts taken off of God, and then we can't accomplish these things that he wants for us. And we'll be on this like seesaw. I want you, God, but I want this too. I want you, God, but I want you. Like, it's just a lot that we be doing. We just do too much. And so that, remember I was telling you how I was downstairs and I said, God, I want to be back on the right path. He's like, okay. And so I know that's why we had to divorce, so I can get back on the right path. I can focus on the things that I was originally supposed to be focused on, right? Us being together, I really believe that was supposed to be a thing, like in San Diego or whatever. But that also means that, how do I say this? Hold on. Just because we were supposed to be together, like he was the greater at greater I was telling you about, that also means like that doesn't mean that I wasn't supposed to continue to walk in what God was calling me to do. So the online ministry thing, I know that's what he was calling me to do at that time. Business, I know that's what he was calling me to do at that time. Real estate, I know that's what he was, like, all of these things. I know this is the place that I'm supposed to walk into. I was supposed to do that in San Diego while still being somebody's good thing. You know what I'm saying? But that's not how it happened. And by me asking God to get me back on the right path, like I'm where I'm supposed to be now. Like right now I'm rebooting, right? It's like when your old school TV goes off, you gotta reboot the thing. Or have, you know what I'm trying to say. You gotta reboot. Put it back on the right channel. Continue the show, right? And so that's what's happening with me. And the amazing thing about it is, in this whole journey, there wasn't a cutoff period. It was more of I'm running. So in 2017, right? Or I'm gonna say in 2013, when I first got saved, I'm running. 2017 happens. I'm walking. 2018 happens. I'm like dragging. 2019, 2019, I'm like barely moving. My little feet is moving, but I'm barely moving. 2020 happens. I'm standing up and I'm trying to get strength in my legs again. 2021, 2022, I'm running. I wrote a book in February of this year. Started a campaign to go and talk to youth at schools. Building up my personal brand online. I'm pretty sure over 60,000 people following me online, right? Started a business, like all the things, y'all. I'm running now. And so the enemy wants me to stop running. He wants me to get off course. He wants me to get off focus. And I just want to drop kick him in the throat. You understand what I'm saying? Stop getting me off focus. But then I can't blame the enemy. Because just like Jesus in John chapter 14, verse 30, Jesus ain't have nothing in common with the enemy. Neither shall I. So if the enemy's coming up to me and I'm falling, well, honey, what you got going on? Fix yourself. So, yeah, that's my journey. I don't know the whole relationship thing with my ex-husband. I already told God, because I feel like my ex-husband has been my Achilles heel. Because again, I'm the type of person who I just firmly believe in marriage and it should be with your person. But I'm like, Lord, if you got me a whole different one who gets it, okay. Because clearly God thought very highly of this man. For me, I'm just saying, I don't think too highly of myself like that. But he has to think highly of my ex-husband to have me move from California to San Diego and him be my choice or be the choice. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, but I'm not holding up. Look, if the Lord is like, honey, no, he had his chance. He lost. He's not what I have for you anymore. We're moving on. Well, let's go. Where are we going? Let's go. In this time, I've definitely learned a couple of things, y'all. I've learned that if whomever, I don't care who it is, it could be your mama, it could be your boyfriend, it can be your sister, your uncle, your teacher, I don't care who it is. If they are not on the same page as you or better, or pushing you to focus on Christ genuinely, leave them alone. Or don't bind yourself to them. Don't rely on them. Don't depend on them. Learn how to drop people. It's okay to do that. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to drop people who are taking you off the path that God has for you. Because you don't want to spend 5 years trying to get back. Trust and believe me. Trust and believe me, you don't want to spend 5 years trying to get back to where you're supposed to be. So I hope this whole message here was helpful to y'all, and it was a blessing. It definitely got some things off of my heart. I don't really believe I've ever shared the message like that, or shared my story like that, you know, talking about my relationship with my ex-husband, and just kind of how it all kind of, you know, like moves things along, or like just trying to, just reality. I guess that's really what I'm trying to say. The reality of how you, just life. Reality is of life. And I know there's so many people who have gotten off task, gotten off course, and they're like, I just can't seem to get back. Well, pray the right prayers. Like, pray the right prayers and obey what God said. What does pray the right prayers mean, though? Pray unselfishly.